Hey, welcome in. Well, I actually saw this article in a clip from Podcast of the Lotus Eaters. And I just had to do a video on this myself because it's hilarious. It also kind of struck me that it crossed my mind anyway that perhaps this is some sort of psyop. That in fact this is a man pretending to be a woman who wrote this to convince women not to be feminists. Because going by this article, feminism is terrible. Anyway, here's the article. I'm all for feminism, but it's kind of making it harder to date. I wonder why that would be. Anyway, what is this? What does the author say? The author says, I consider myself a feminist, but I can't lie. I'm starting to notice its effects on my dating life. Can't help but start to notice. This doesn't change my belief in equality. Yeah, well, are we past that now, the fiction that feminism is about equality? No, it's about equality plus. It's about essentially narcissism. Just, I want everything my way because women. Because as far as I know, they still don't want to do anything unpleasant. They just want all the really good jobs. They're not demanding to be, in waste management. But anyway, it doesn't change her belief in equality, which she doesn't believe in. I just hope that men and women can eventually learn to date in harmony, because it's pretty messy right now. Because of you. And why? Well, let's see. What's the first thing? I'm hyper aware of every sexist thing a guy does now. And if you're wondering what's a sexist thing, it's everything. That's the thing about being hyper aware of something. You tend to see it even when it's not there. But anyway, I mean, that's not a turnoff, being hyper aware. Look, being hyper aware, waiting for some infraction so that you can jump all over it and criticize. Yeah, that's not a turnoff. Anyway, what does she say here? She says, it doesn't take much for me to overanalyze a guy's intentions nowadays. Yeah, that could be a bit of a problem, actually. I used to see a guy opening a door for me as nice and polite, but lately, gestures like this have been making me angry. I know the guys offering these acts of chivalry have no intention to make me feel small or lesser than, but now that my eyes have been opened to feminist theory, it's all I'm able to think about. Whose problem is this? This is your problem. So she's saying that she knows the guys offering these acts of chivalry, the opening a door and being nice and polite, she knows they have no intention to make her feel small or lesser than. So they're not doing anything wrong. And in fact, she used to find it nice and polite, so she used to enjoy that. But now that her eyes have been opened to feminist theory. So the thing that is actually nice is now bad, and it's all she can think about. In that podcast of the Lotus Eaters clip, they were talking about how this is very Orwellian, and it is. This is doublethink. And shockingly, it sounds like she's having a hard time dating, because all she can think about is the crime that's not actually a crime, which she knows isn't a crime. Anyway, super healthy. Let's see, guys are starting to think we don't need them anymore. Why would they think that? Let's see. Fine, women don't need men, so what? By Amanda Marcotte. How about this one? Do we even need men? And this is an interesting article here. I took a quick peek at this one, and although this is apparently written by a man, though I guess I shouldn't assume just from the name these days, there might be a solution to the man problem with cloning. So that's obviously very reasonable. How about from The Guardian? Would a world without men really be so bad? So this is all very sane. Those are just the first few the internet is full of that kind of stuff. Anyway, they say here, even though the feminist movement is pretty much the best thing to happen to this world since sliced bread, it's taking its toll in the dating scene. You know what the thing with feminism is? Is that it had a destination, and it was about to get there, and it just went right past and then crashed into a cliff. Because whatever it was supposed to be about originally, it's not about that anymore. It's not about equality. It's about some people are more equal than other people, and you know who those people are. Anyway, thing is, I'm starting to get a bit of a standoffish vibe from guys. Like they're afraid to make a move, and I think it's because they think we don't need them anymore. No, it's because they don't want to get accused of anything. That's why. Because you made it like that. Let's see, here's another really constructive, healthy thing. One little anti-feminist comment can completely turn me off. An anti-feminist comment is just literally anything she doesn't like, right? You know, an anti-feminist comment is, I thought Handmaid's Tale was boring. Anyway, this is really enticing. One little anti-feminist comment, which could be anything. Could be anything. When I'm out with a guy and he says one thing that's even remotely offensive towards women, I find it really hard to recover. That's because you're insane. I instantly write guys off if they aren't woke to the current social mindset towards gender politics and can't let it go. So, and if they can't just agree with everything that you say, yeah, you know what? That might be something that other people, might find unattractive. Somebody like that, somebody so narcissistic that they can't bear to hear something that they disagree with. But anyway, let's just say I've gone on a lot of first dates that never go anywhere. I bet you have. And I bet it wasn't always your choice either. Not when one little anti-feminist comment can completely turn you off. And when you're hyper aware of every sexist thing a guy does now, even though you know that they're not actually sexist. Oh dear. Let's see. It's like guys are walking on eggshells around us. I wonder why that would be. Maybe it's because you're hypersensitive and guys don't want to get accused of anything. Could be that. But this one here is the real gold in this. I've been brainwashed to assume the worst in men. I've been brainwashed to assume the worst in men. So she's aware of it. That's good. All it takes is one quick stroll down my newsfeed, and I have enough feminist rants to last me several winters. I think I've almost trained my brain to assume all men are here to try and put me down and dominate me when that's far from the truth. I've made it kind of an automatic reflex at this point, though. So you're brainwashed. That's why this article exists, because you're brainwashed. And incredibly, you're actually self-aware enough to recognize that the things you assume aren't true. That the things you've been brainwashed to believe aren't true. This is where the Orwellian stuff comes in, the doublethink. Let's see. I'm afraid of scaring guys off by being too feminist. Probably too late, right? Probably too late. That train's probably already left the station. The same way I'm hyper aware of when guys are being insulting towards women, I'm also afraid that I'm going to come off as too harsh and dominant. What is with these women that think they're dominant? They're afraid of being too dominant. How many of them are actually dominant? I think they confuse dominance with just being awful, just being a crappy person, right? Just being narcissistic and touchy, kind of the opposite of what being dominant actually is. Like paranoia isn't dominance, right? But yeah, I mean, being awful, that could easily scare guys away, sure. Feminism is something I'm passionate about, even though apparently it's wrecking your life. But I also know how guys can get insecure when I talk about it. It's not insecurity, it's irritation. It's, oh no, she's one of those. Okay. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for tonight? Maybe I'll just leave. Anyway, she ends it off with, I don't know what to do anymore. It's because you're a feminist. It's because you've been brainwashed, as you say. Right here, point number 6. I've been brainwashed. Oh, man. How does this help anybody? How does this feminist theory help anybody? It doesn't appear to. It doesn't seem to make anybody happy. It seems to make them resentful and weird and antisocial. Anyway, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Every first date I go on, there's an elephant in the room. The elephant is you. Yeah, the elephant is that you're unpleasant. Let's see. What is it? It's that you've been brainwashed. It's that one little anti-feminist comment can completely turn me off. God knows what a anti-feminist comment is. It's pretty much anything. It's the hyper-awareness. That might have something to do with it. So I don't know what to do about it. You don't know what to do anymore. Just stop being a feminist. Stop over-analyzing everything and being oversensitive. And if you think it's nice when somebody opens a door for you, just go with that, right? Don't crack open the feminist theory book and find ways to be mad about it. Just go, oh yeah, that is nice. Okay, I'm just going to go with that feeling. That's good. Anyway, it seems like being a feminist is just totally self-defeating, at least in the modern feminist sense, at least in the sense of somebody like this whose eyes have been opened to feminist theory. Yeah, it just seems that feminist theory seems to make people miserable. Because it's not about equality or anything like that. It's about criticizing. That's it. It's about being obsessed with finding some sort of insult or infraction of the feminist theory rules. And brainwashing, as she admits herself. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast, Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.